Okay, here's one of those little El Cheapo 5-inch black and white Chinese-made portable TVs that was available right up until the DTV transition. In fact, I remember seeing a whole pile of these at the dollar store for under 15 bucks right before everything went digital. These were sold under about 1 million brand names and come in about 1 million different case colors. I even think they made a see-through version. Some models even had AV input jacks on the back, although this one does not. This one was made in 1999, but they made these things for years. And there's the back of it. I have my DTV converter plugged into it and the 12-volt wall wart. And this TV has a problem. Don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but we have audio and a dim vertical line, which tells us we have no horizontal deflection. So let's open this thing up and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it. Okay, here it is all opened up, and the first thing I noticed was this electrolytic capacitor right here that's obviously gotten hot, and the paper covering has it's gotten so hot that the paper covering swiveled up and fell off of it. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is replace that capacitor, and then we'll go from there. As you can see, there's not much to this little bitty printed circuit board, but let the soldering iron warm up and we'll try to fix this. And here's the capacitor removed from the TV, a 4.7 microfarad at 100 volts, connected to the capacitor meter. And as you can tell, it's wide open. It's not reading anything. So let's dig through my capacitor stash and see what I can find. Okay, here's a brand new 4.7 microfarad at 450 volt. This is part of my antique radio capacitor stash, and I'd really rather not use a 450 volt cap in this set, but when that's all I have on hand, that's what we're going to use. And on the capacitor meter, it reads 4.68 microfarads. As far as I'm concerned, just like a new cap should read. So let's put this in the TV and see what happens. Okay, and after replacing that capacitor, this is what I'm greeted with. So, obviously more problems. Probably more cheap, bad capacitors. Let's see. Okay, dummy me, I looked at the original capacitor again and discovered it was a non-polarized electrolytic capacitor, which is something I don't have, so I ended up taking two 10 microfarad 450 volt caps and wiring them in series, as you can see here, to make a non-polarized cap. But this thing still has problems. You see what it's doing. So it still has the same problem that I demonstrated a minute ago. So I guess I'll dig into this some more, or I'll get fed up with it and sling it across the yard, which is probably not a bad idea. Cheap Chinese garbage. Okay, we're making progress. It turned out the wall wart was defective. I connected this to my bench power supply, and it's much better, although it's got some vertical problems now that we've got to straighten out, which is probably more bad caps. Here's the bad wall wart. I might just bust this open and see if I can find out what's wrong. Probably an internal capacitor. So let us continue. Okay, I've disconnected this electrolytic capacitor that was originally bad, and with a good power supply you can definitely see in more detail what was going on with this old bad capacitor. We have no horizontal deflection, so I just thought I'd show that to you real quick. Okay, here it is all put back together. It works pretty good. It's got some buzz in the audio, which Seems like I remember most of these had.
So give us a shot to help you find that perfect. This round of diving is final. The men's. It's going to continue because the big.
So there were three things basically wrong with this TV. Bad electrolytic capacitor in the horizontal output circuit.
Got a little bit of.
The wall wart was defective. And I adjusted the vertical size control to
Like some out-of-town TV.
correct the vertical problem.
Here they are on the precipice of a champion.
I'm sure there's more caps in this TV that are going bad, but I'm not going to that much trouble with this. This was just something just to see if I could get it going again, and I've accomplished my goals. So right now, let's take a look at the wall wart and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it.
I've never been able to afford it for you.
And she did right. That's the key. I have always said.
And there's the radio.
These are the names of. Big, 7-track or.
Okay, there's the radio. So now let's look at the wall wart and see if we can fix that. Okay, here's the wall wart torn apart. Very simple circuit here, just a step-down transformer that converts the 120 volts incoming AC down to a lower AC voltage, which is then rectified by two diodes which make up a full wave rectifier, which converts the outcoming AC from the transformer into a DC voltage, and then that DC voltage is applied to this electrolytic filter capacitor, which smooths out the ripple to give you a more uniform DC output that the equipment wants to see. So let me check some things on here and see if I can find what's wrong with it. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, this little power supply is garbage. I've determined that the reason it has low output voltage is because this little transformer is shorted. And I tested everything else on the board and it checks okay. And this transformer, I did notice, was getting extremely warm when plugged in, so that's really the only other thing it could be. So there you go. I'd say that's about it for now, and more to come later. And I promise to do more vintage electronic videos. I know y'all are getting tired of seeing all of this Chinese garbage that I've been posting about here lately. Okay, thanks for watching, and more to come later.